and that's about as low as I can sing right now. I know the basses can go much lower. If you can't do the lip roll, try doing a tongue roll. That's something you can replace it with. So instead of brrr, you can try drrrr. Anything to resist the pressure of the voice coming out. It's a really good exercise to keep that pressure in the front of the lips rather than in the throat or somewhere else, maybe in or the rest of your body. Well, let's go up a little bit higher this time for the tenors. Starting here. And basses, you can just stop whenever you don't feel comfortable with it anymore. So, everybody. One more. Great. Another thing I like to do is really unlock the mask resonance. We talked a lot about mask, singing in the mask, and there was some questions about what that meant. But that really just means to put it nice and forward, get a really forward sound. So there's two different types of sounds that we're making in this piece, really. There's the kind of breathy, very ethereal quality that's very heady. So it's kind of and then there's other sounds that are much more forward. So they're kind of and you can actually make a breathy, loud sound. That would sound something like this. Not the prettiest noise in the world, but sometimes we make those sounds of it. It sounds much better cohesively than an individual. And you can also make a loud, sort of masky sound, and a loud, bright sound. That would be like that. And those are the kind of the extremes that we go to. Neither of them sound very pleasant, but we want to find the places in the middle. So if we start here, actually we'll go down nice and low. We'll do an exercise with an M to really get that sound in the mask. And that goes mi, mo, mi. What I want you to do is really hang on the So make sure you feel that buzz. Really get it nice and forward. And maybe for our female tenors, you can be up here. Mi. So we're really putting it really nice and forward and then opening to the mi and the mo. Just with me this time. Ready? And mi, mo, mi. Going up. Mi, mo, mi. 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 And we'll stop right there. I think we should dive into some of the music now. Hopefully you guys are feeling nice and warm, and maybe you did some warming up beforehand as well, but if not, we'll have plenty of opportunities. I actually want to start with just a vocalese of all of us just singing the exact same melody. And if we turn to bar 71, this is kind of the tricky part, this bridge that I think is probably the most dense, and it has no resemblance of anything that Dougie MacLean writes in his original tune. And this is kind of my own compositional bit of the piece. And we'll just take a look at it really quickly. It's this part that goes. This is the middle of the song. And just look at it for a second, and then I just want you to put your music down or turn your iPad off or turn it over, because I'm just going to teach it by rote just to begin with. So I'll just sing it one time through, and I want you guys to be listening and just see if you can sing back this melody. It goes like this. I'll break it down bit by bit. I see some people going, no. Don't worry, we'll get it. We'll just break it down bit by bit. So it starts like this. Ready? And let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3. And it just goes down again, and it goes. That's the second half of it. So that goes. A little bit trickier there. We'll start here. Ready, 2, 3. Great, now let's see if we can put the whole thing together. Oh, here comes Barney behind me. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
We had a little.
Have we lost Blake, or have we lost me?
Malfunction. Yeah, I think Blake might have dropped out for a moment. Somebody, let's take a little screenshot of it and send it to him. I'm sure he'll be back with us very shortly. There you go. Could I quickly address something I've just seen in the chat, Jamie?
Indeed, yes.
The melody that Blake is singing to everybody, nice mug, Charles, from bar 71, is the melody that comes out when all of the parts sing together. It's not necessarily the melody that any one part is singing, but it's going to really help you to know how to fit your part into the larger whole. So we are going from bar 71, but we're not singing exactly what's written on just one line of the music, but a kind of amalgamation so you can get a sense of the wider picture.
I think Tori just explained exactly what I wanted. Sorry, the Wi-Fi is kind of in and out here in the center. Some of the Wi-Fi is really good in particular parts of the building, but at this particular part, it's not. But how did that go? Give me a thumbs up or down if you managed to sing the melody pretty well. Cool. Yeah, maybe in the middle for some of you guys. That's all right. But I think as Tori was just explaining, that's the melody that goes through this entire bit, and it's passed around in the voices. So if you actually open the score now, take a look at the score, you see it starts in the tenor. And then it moves up into the alto. And then it keeps moving around. And it ends, of course, moving into the sopranos. So our job is really to emphasize that melody when we have it, and when we're harmony to kind of back mix ever so slightly. And through this period, there's a kind of a gradual crescendo as we move through the entire thing. So moving from that space that we unlocked earlier, moving from that sort of breathy quality to a really forward and masky sound, almost similar to a horn. So moving from strings, I guess if you want to call it string texture, to a much more bright, brassy kind of sound. So this time we'll just jump in with some of the notes. So basses, we're starting on an inverted chord. So we have like this. Both the tenors are on this B flat here. The basses are way down there, which I can't sing. And the baritones are here. So I'll just play through it, and what I'll do is sing along with the tenors here. So 1, 2, 3. Sorry, tenors move down. Not the best at singing and playing at the same time, but hopefully I'll just sing this through a few times, and we can each have a go with the baritones and the basses as well. So for the tenor ones, there's a particular bit in this that I want you to really hone in on, and that's in bar 2 bars from the top of the page. That would be bar 77, we would get that C sharp that comes in. And that really is kind of the change from this minor-y kind of tonality. We're in B flat, kind of, or I guess we're in F major here. And then we finally turn around the corner and have this. And then we get E major and D major there. They're bringing us back to A. So tenors really have that critical note there with that D sharp, or the C sharp to D. So really enjoy that, and you can sing into that note, resolving up from in the context of this. So really lift into that. Let's do that one more time. I'll sing along with the tenors. Here are your pitches. And this time I'll try to sing tenor 2 here. So 1, 2, 3. Great. And you can breathe whenever you want in this section. Just stagger throughout. You don't necessarily have to breathe when the Vater Saint members breathe. It's quite a long phrase, and we definitely break it up in the concert. Let's do it one more time. We'll just keep getting more and more comfortable with this kind of changeover. The baritones have a really interesting kind of move that is a little bit tricky in the second bar there, in bar 72 there. We have this phrase that goes from D, that goes, and then we have, you have da 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 in the lower parts, and that gets quite dense. So you have this, gets a little bit crunchy. So you really have to stick to your guns, listen to that learning track over and over again, and really get that. And another part I would look at is the bit that actually Ewan brought up, the tritone that happens at the very last bar of page 10 there. The tenor twos go. So you have just as we turn the corner into the next page there. And maybe I'll just give you guys the tenor twos. This exercise will be for you now. Anybody else can continue singing along, but this is specifically for the tenor twos. And what you're really doing is moving from the root of that first chord, the B flat, to the third of the next chord. So you don't necessarily have to think about it like a tritone. You don't have to go like tritone, tritone, tritone. Think about it more like, I'm the root of this chord, it feels great to be the root, and now I'm moving to the third of this chord, and now I'm back on the root of this chord, and then the third. Not the best voice leading from myself, I have to admit, but I think hearing it like that, root to third, makes it a little bit easier to kind of internalize. So let's go through that again, and tenor 2 is really focusing on that tritone moving to the third of that C major chord. So we go from the top of that section, basses, baritone, and both tenors. Here we go. I'll sing with the tenor twos again. 1, 2, 3. Great. And give it as much sound, as much mask as you possibly can for that last bar. Even if it sounds a bit forward and nasty and nasal, that's actually kind of the sound that we're looking for at this particular bit. We want to be just impressive and loud. I'm going to run this one last time with all the parts. And as we get to that last chord, I want everybody to really sing into the chord. Even if it feels a little bit too far forward, a little bit too nasal, just see what happens if we kind of unlock that forward resonance. So here's the chord again. We're starting on. at bar 71 here. 1, 2, 3. Great. And that really is that's the toughest piece, that's the toughest bit of the piece. So if you happen to go, watch this again and sing along with it, or indeed listen to the learning track, so you can really solidify those notes and feel super good about them. Moving forward in the piece, it really is not too difficult from this point on. If we look at bar 88, there's a little bit of a tricky corner with the tenors, because we move from this chord, we have a C sharp there, and then we go, but I'm steady thinking. And if we can kind of hang on that C sharp as much as possible tenors, this is in bar 88, for those of you that are just reading along. Bar 88 on the chord, tasty. We have this chord that also is, I think, pretty tasty. And tenors have this bar 88. And if you notice, all the rest of the everybody else who's singing has a dotted half note, a dotted minim for you Brits, and the tenors have to move off of it. But if we can slide into the melody, kind of go, but I'm steady thinking. That's kind of the best. Not too much of a but I'm steady thinking, but try to hang on that C sharp as long as you can. But I'm steady, rather than doing something like but I'm steady thinking. Definitely don't take a breath there if you can manage it. So we'll just run this section here. But I'm steady thinking, and the tenors can sing with me. So here's your chord. Basses are and we just have these bits for our lower parts: tenor, baritone, bass. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. But I'm steady thinking, my way is clear, and I know what I will do tomorrow when the hands have shaken and the kisses flowed. Then I will disappear. And actually, if you notice in your score, no one's singing the word, the end of disappear. I think we'll just have Watcher 8 do that. So if you don't see the word, the ending of the word disappear, if it's disappeared from your score, that's a good thing. All the tenors will go, I will and just slide into that chord that happens. For you basses, all you'll have to do is, what are you singing? You're singing ah. Like that. This is bar 95. And these chords are really important because we want them to feel like they're sort of unlocking a new key center, which they are. They're going to move us to D major. But in order to get there, we have to be really subtle with this kind of magic, the magic that Dougie MacLean sort of talked about. For me, these chords are quite magical. So we have, we'll just start right there. So I will disappear, and we'll stop on those two chords. I'll just give them like this, so you can slide to them. This is from bar 95. I will disappear. Basses are here, and baritones. 1, 2, 3. I will disappear. And that brings us to Let Me Tell You That I Love You, into this new key here. Great. I think we'll just run this section one more time. And I'll sing along with the tenors again. But I'm steady thinking. One thing that you may notice when you're singing along with the recording is that I think we tend to sing the words, when the hands have shaken, a little bit faster on the word shaken than what's written. And it's not necessarily, when the hands have shaken, it's not like that. But it's also not, when the hands have shaken, it's not as metered. So if you can think of the word shaken, it's just being a little bit quicker. And just really, in the end, try to match exactly what's in that learning track. So it'll go, when the hands have shaken and the kisses flowed, then I will disown. We just shift into that. We'll go from the top of this section at bar 88. Basses, baritones, tenors, and everybody else. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. But I'm steady thinking my way is clear, and I know what I will do tomorrow when the hands have shaken and the kisses flowed. Then I will disown. And then we're here. That bit. Great. Let's move into the ending section here. Let me tell you that I love you. This last hymn. The trick here is really to make sure that it is it's very speech-like. It's very lyrical, and that it's not too classically sung. So let's just do this section one time as if we were really good choristers and pronouncing every single word to the back of the hall, and just see what that feels like. So I'll just play a little harmonization along with you guys, and I'll sing with the tenors again. So we have, let me tell you that I love you. So 1, and we're doing overly classical pronunciation here. 1, 2, 3. Let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, and now I'm going home. If I should become a stranger, you know it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've had. Oh. And we'll stop there. That's what we don't want. We don't want tons of consonant. We don't want, let me tell you that I love you. That's not the vibe here. What we're going for is kind of as if you were singing a lullaby to a child or something, or maybe even impersonating Dougie MacLean and singing at a local pub in Scotland or something like that. So what we'll try to do is just keep it like this. If I'm singing tenor, let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, and now I'm going home. If I should become a stranger, you know it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've had. Oh. That's the kind of thing we're looking for. Let's all try to join in with that this time. So basses, you're here. Tenors, you're here. Let me tell you, just with that really relaxed pronunciation. 1, 2, 3. Let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, and now I'm going home. If I should become a stranger, you know it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've had. Oh, oh, going home. I was singing the tenor one part at that time. So that's the kind of diction that we're looking for with this last bit. Don't overdo it. Really keep those consonants to a minimum. This time I'll sing with the basses, and we can go through that bit as well. I'll try to sing bass 1, if I can get low enough here. Let me tell you that I love you. Here we go. Same thing. 1, 2, 3. Let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, and now I'm going home. If I should become a stranger, you know it would make me more than sad. Caledonia been everything I've had. Ooh. Oh. Can't quite get the low basses. We'll stop there. Sorry about that. That's where I bottom out, is right around F sharp, unfortunately. And kind of breathe it out. But for those of you that have that low D natural, I think Johnny brought up the point, but we don't really want to growl it out. It's not kind of sound. We want to make sure that's really breathy, kind of like the vacuum or a Hoover sound that goes in the background. So as really relaxed as you can make that's going to really kind of lend itself to the cohesive whole sound much better. Let's move. Actually, let me bring up one more thing in the tenor part here. There's something that I'm always thinking about as I sing this. We have this part that goes, let me tell you that I love you, which is kind of sticks out of the texture. It moves up when everyone else is going. And we get this chord that goes. The inner parts are quite dense there. We have that minor second against the altos on that C sharp in bar 98. The tenors go, let me tell you against the altos that are singing this bit. So we have to kind of think of it as, put our vertical reading hats on for this moment and enjoy that dissonance. And don't emphasize it, don't sing into it, so don't go, let me tell you that I love you. But we want to make sure that it's nicely pitched so that it doesn't sound like, let me tell you that I love you, there's no dominant sonority here. It's let me tell you, major 7. So really, whenever you have that C sharp, it usually has a clash against the altos. And it's meant to be a really beautiful thing. Same thing happens in bar 108. It goes, you know it would, or you know it would make me more than sad. We have these kind of angular lines there. You know it would make me more than sad. And it's very easy to kind of break it up and make it angular, but we want to make sure that it's as lyrical as possible while also maintaining pitch integrity. It's a very difficult skill, I think. So if we just sing that line, tenors, I think it's maybe one of the more difficult bits. You know it would make me more than sad. Really connecting the C sharp to the F sharp there. You know it would make me more than sad. Just try that with me. So we have 1, 2. You know it would make me more than sad. Again, 1, 2. You know it would make me more than sad. Great. We also have some splits to be aware of here. So if we look at the entire section, there's no splits on bar 98, 99, 100, 101. As we get to page 15, bar 106. Oh, sorry, I gave the wrong bar numbers there, but the entirety of 98, 99, 100, 101 is great. As we get into bar 104, that's when the first split happens. So basses, check out that you have that split there because your stems both go down. And we have that split on A. Basses do that on Going Home. There's no splits as we continue on bar 106. Bar 110, we still have no splits until we get to bar 111. And once again, the baritones and basses split there. Everything I've had. Basses are still split there. And we have a nice little rub there in the baritones and tenors. The tenors are on this E, baritones are there, and basses are there. This is the last beat of bar 112. Everything I've had, and then we have O, sorry. Then we move to that chord on oo. So that's, the baritones are always splitting there. Baritones and basses have that split. Moving through, tenors have the split at bar 114. Tenors still have the split at 115. As we continue on, the last two bars, basses have the split. So hope that's helpful. Let's sing through this last section one more time, and then we'll go back and look at some tricky bits in the piece. So, maybe Tori can fill in the alto part and unmute, or maybe she can video record it from home. I saw her awesome Instagram sing along with Andrea, which is really cool. If anybody wants to Instagram this or put on one of their Instagram stories or make a video of them singing along, duetting, feel free. That's the more the merrier.
It's so satisfying to sing along with you. It's so lovely. I'm loving being in the lower voices sectional. Thanks very much for having me.
I know you've got some nice rich low notes as well, Tori, so you can definitely sing tenor whenever you want. So we have these first two notes here on Let Me Tell You in bar 98. I'll sing the tenor part, tenor 1. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, and now I'm going home. If I should become a stranger, you know it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've had. Oh, oh, going home. Great. And for those last two chords, we want to make sure that we really set up the nice harmonic series with those notes. And that's really all done in our lower voices here. So the chord itself, that penultimate chord, second to last chord, is this. And it's really all about that alto 1 part that has that C sharp, because it's definitely a 5 chord, but we have some added notes. So we have this going home, right? But there's some added notes in the alto, so it's easy to get distracted. So we have, and then we have this note added in, and sopranos have this note. So the chord ends up sounding a bit more clustery, Whitaker kind of style at this chord. But in the end, we really want to hear 5, that dominant chord. So it'll sound going home, like that. So just be aware that you're really locking in those 5ths and 4ths that are in the bottom parts there. Really finalizing it as we come home finally at the end. Let's go back in the piece a little bit. Now that we've covered all the notes, I think, in Johnny's sectional and my sectional, we've kind of sung through the entirety of the piece. And we still have plenty more sectionals, by the way, guys. So if you're feeling a little bit on the edge still, there's plenty of time. Do not worry. We're going to keep going over this over and over again. So rest assured, we'll be all right. Let's just go back to the very beginning, in fact, when we come in bar 17. Just take a look at a few of these corners here. So we're in the key of E major at the beginning. And the first chord we come in is on this A kind of looking sonority. And I said warm halo in the upper parts there. That's really what we're going for, is the other end of the spectrum from that really brassy sound we made at the end of that big chord at the end of the bridge. We want to go for a sound that's a little bit more like a string, as dusty as you can make it, with that breathy kind of sound that we were working on. So if I was singing tenor here, which I normally do, not to the best of my ability sometimes, but let's see what happens if I go. So I'd go. So I'm trying to put as much breath through as I can. And also really kind of morphing between these vowels. Nothing is ever a hard snap. If you're moving from O to ah, for instance, we're not going oh, ah. There's none of that kind of thing. It's all super gradual, moving through that. And even moving between the notes, also there's quite a bit of slide. We want to keep it as relaxed as possible through this section. And for me, that really makes the magic. So if we're starting on that first chord, we can all sing along this time. Those are the lower parts. Then on top, we have, and we move to good old E major, which is our home. So here's basses, tenor 2, tenor 1. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Breathe whenever you need to. I think Tori always says that it's better to breathe when you have quite a bit of breath left in the tank rather than leaving it to the toothpasting at the end. You know, we call that toothpasting. You get to the very end, you're like, oh, squeezing out the last bit of toothpaste. Let's do that one more time, and I'll sing the tenor 2 part this time. There's one chord I want you to keep a lookout for, and that's the last chord of the last bar of page 2. So 17, 18, 19, 20. And that chord is really one of my favorites because it has, it's a sus chord. And the tenors have that sus4, that A natural, where the sopranos have the third. So it's really just a good old E major chord. But the tenors have that 4, kind of suspending it all. Sus stands for suspended. So it feels like it needs to go there, but the tenors hang over in that chord. So let's start from the top, and I'll sing tenor 2. Sorry, I'll start from bar 17, I'll sing tenor 2. So here's the basses, tenor 2, tenor 1. Really working on that nice blended, breathy sound that we're going for. Connecting all of the notes. 1, 2, 3. Great. So that's that section in a nutshell. It's quite an easy bit, but we want to make sure that we're kind of providing the carpet underneath the solo that happens. And it's a nice sort of purple carpet. It's not bright pink or anything like that. It's got to be really kind of like a sunset almost. The next section, we have these mms, and I think Johnny made the point, but we don't want to make it super nasal, super forward mms. So we don't want that's definitely not the sound. If you imagine ah inside your mouth, go ah, and then close it. There's quite a bit of space that's happening there, and that's really the sound that we want here. Tenors, be aware that second chord in bar 29, you have that dissonance once again that I love to do with the altos, where you have that minor second that's in there. Sorry. And then it goes. Beautiful chord when it's all put together, but in between we have that nice rub. So just be aware that you're actually really important in that chord. You're more important than the altos who have that E that hangs over. So if you want to just add a little bit more sound to that note, that's definitely better. Let's go ahead and sing through this section. I think maybe you've been working from home at this one, so hopefully you've got a little bit better over the past week since Johnny's been with you. I'll once again sing the tenor. I'll sing tenor 1 this time. Here we go. On 1, 2. Sorry, I messed up a little bit at the end there, but basically, as we move into this last section, as we get into bar 40 and 41, there has to be a fade that happens where really it kind of cascades into the top parts. We're left with just this E on top. So all the parts are going, sorry. And then we're just left with that E hanging over into the bar. So really, I mean, you can crescendo into the bar, just a tiny little crescendo, but as we get into the next one and into bar 41, really back away and just disappear into nothingness. That's what we want. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, for instance, if I was singing tenor in bar 41, I don't have to cut out exactly at the last beat of the bar. It doesn't need to be like, if I was singing tenor, so you have, it's not that kind of thing. It's definitely fading into nothing, okay? And same with basses. You don't have to stop abruptly at the third beat of bar 41. You can kind of just fade away. Great, let's try that section one more time. I'll sing the tenor 2 part this time. I'll try to. Here we go. On bar 28. 1, 2, 3. And then we fade away. Nice job, guys. I'm sure you sound absolutely beautiful. The baritones have a bit of a tricky line here, I think. So just make sure that you're really listening to that that learning track that Chris sings. Chris is our baritone in Valtrisate. Especially when you have some of the lower thirds that come in, like, where's an example? Like bar 31, for instance. We have a bit that goes, let's see here. It kind of hops around a bit. Sorry. So just make sure that you're kind of working with the basses, really ringing these chords, thinking of the vertical once again. Thinking of, oh, am I the third in this chord, or am I just singing intervals? And you definitely want to be thinking of your function in the chords. The next section, there's a few little bits that I'll bring out. So we have this, once again, this carpet. And as we sing that first chord in bar 43, this is a big moment to really go through all the vowels. We're going through from oo to aw, slightly more open, but we want to make sure it's ooh, and as smooth as you can make it, kind of opening up, rather than ooh, ah, it's more ooh, kind of sound. So we'll just sing through this. I'll sing tenor again. Sorry, let's get from. So tenors are here. Tenor 2. Baritone also with the tenor 2. And basses come in on B. Here's our oo chord in bar 43. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, 1, 2, 3. Ah, with the wind, with wind. Then we go to the next section. There's two chords I really want to take a look at here. One of them is in bar 47. We have a little bit of some modal borrowing happens. So we go along quite normal. We're just going, you know, I have tried and I've kept on trying on the top. Stolen dreams, yes, there's no denying. This minor, major 7 kind of feel here. Minor 6/9, major 7. You could do that, but I didn't do that. So make sure that if you have a C natural is very important in this chord, because you define the quality of the chord. If it was major, that would be much more kind of expected sonority, but the tenors have. So make sure when you move into that C natural in bar 47, it's really prominent. I like to really sing into it. And then also for the tenors as well, anytime you have a D sharp, it's usually, once again, clashing with the altos, you get that rub, that minor second rub. So I'm talking bar 46. Just be very aware of that, and you can kind of sing into that as well. So bar 46 is one, and also bar 48, we have that and then also in bar 51, you can see I kind of resort to the same techniques, right? With the wind, and of course that's that. With the wind, with wind, wind up. Great. Let's sing through that one more time, and then we'll get into that final chorus, which should kind of complete us with a run of the piece. Let's go from bar 43 again. We have this. Here's tenor 1, tenor 2, and the basses come in on this note. Bar 43 on ooh. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Before we take some questions, I just want to talk about two chords in this section as well. So one of them is the chord that happens in bar 60. We have, let me tell you that sorry, let me get this. And then we have Caledonia, you're calling me. And basses have a really low note, that C sharp there. And the altos have a really dissonant note in that chord. We have that sus4 kind of sound again. The chord ends up sounding like this. Basses, you're incredibly crucial in that chord because you have the third. It's going to be an A major chord, but you have that way down there. And the altos have that very naughty 4 in the chord. What we want to hear is that A major. So the altos can kind of shave that off, even though they're not in the sectional. If you have anything in A major, bring that out in that chord. That's bar 60. And then one other thing I wanted to look at in this bit was some of these moves that happen in bar 65, because it's also really important that we're singing this, especially for the basses who are way down there in the basement. Really kind of, you can drill those notes out. This is actually a moment where you can think a little more buzzsaw, I think. And the baritones move around quite a bit in that. If you see the baritone splits, quite tricky. And then the one last thing before we take questions is in bar 70, that O chord. You can really sing into that one as well, and notice that it starts quite piano, then it moves, so it goes. And bass twos can split. I know that everybody doesn't have a low C. No, barely. But anybody that doesn't have the low C, just jump on up to that G there. Great. I think that kind of takes us through most of the piece. I'd love to take questions for just a few minutes, if that's all right. Is that okay, Jamie and Tori? Cool.
A couple of minutes. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I would suggest to start with, chuck your any questions you may have for Blake in the chat. That's probably the easiest way to go. If you see anything you like, Blake, you can answer away. If anyone has a burning desire to ask a question, give us a jazz hand and I will flip through, and we can do it that way. This might be a technique thing, Blake.
Sure, yeah.
About tuning of chords, I know, is one of Blake's awesome things.
I love talking about that.
Maybe not enough in 2 minutes.
We have a question 88. Clarify who sings what. So the baritones will be splitting there. So the basses, bass twos will sing B, baritone will sing F sharp, and then the tenors are united on the C sharp there. Do I have any suggestions about keeping the timing when the piece slows down? I would just stick as best as you can with the learning track. And I know the rallentando bit and that bridge, the ba-da-da-da-da-da section is a bit hard to do, but just practice it. If you can isolate that section and just loop it, so you kind of get the feel of how that sounds. And the other bit that really has to stay in time is the very last hymnal section. And actually, it might be quicker than you might think. When we sing this with choirs, they always want to go like, let me tell you that I love you, just hanging around the sonorities a bit too long, sort of wallowing, but we don't want that. We want to keep moving along. Let's see, Blake, what do you mean with let notes to decay into rest? Okay, yeah, sure. Decaying notes, this is at, let's see, bar 55. Actually, sorry, not bar 55. This is that first section, isn't it? Bar 27. It's the same kind of thing as what I mentioned earlier when you kind of disappear. And I think there's a string term for it. It's called portato. If any of you are string players, portato means to kind of leave a bit of dust in between the rest. So if I was singing tenor 1 in bar 27, I might, and rather than going, you hear I'm abruptly stopping it. What we kind of want is just to leave almost a sense of there being an extra eighth note, maybe, like. Some composers like to write that little extra eighth note, but I'm not quite as anal as Benjamin Britten, for instance. But that's the kind of thing, is it has that feeling of kind of decaying into the rest. So maybe just hang on a little bit longer than the rest actually says. Let's see what else we have. How do you manage the low C sharp on the F sharp? Oh, that's a technique called strobos. It's actually kind of like a vocal fry. Do we have any Germans in the room today, maybe? Let me just look around and see if we have any Deutsch fans here. Raise your hand if you're in Germany. Some people?
We certainly have a few in the room.
All right, yeah. I guess strobos in German, I think just means vocal fry. But it's an octavization technique where you can sing and then you can add an octave below. So I'm just singing this note, but going so you can kind of hear it pop back and forth. It's a sub-octave thing. So in the same way that there are overtones, there's also undertones in the series as well, and you can emphasize them by doing certain weird things with your voice. That's just a weird technique you can play around with if you want to sing even lower. But that's kind of a weird thing. I really can't sing below F sharp, like I said, naturally.
What a thing to end a rehearsal.
Sure, yeah, we can end on that
I
one.
might need to be in touch about some lessons. I can see lots of very good uses for that. Fantastic.
Sure.
Oh, this little thing? Oh, that's just something I do.
This little thing. What an amazing skill. Brilliant. Now, if you are going to go away and attempt to practice that, please be careful, whatever you do.
We want to make sure that you can still sing on the recording, so don't blow your voice out now and lose it for 4 weeks, please.
Brilliant. Well, Blake, we'll come to thank you in just a second. This has been really enjoyable, and I will admit it is not a huge number of stay-at-home choir rehearsals. I will desperately try and get through all of the little bits of work in order to be able to sing with you, and I've really, really enjoyed actually just putting some stay-at-home choir work to one side and just singing along with you. So thank you so much for a really great rehearsal. At this point, I should probably say, those of you that haven't yet had a look at the Voces Live from London series, please do go and check it out. Blake, what are the details of your concert this weekend?
It should be on Saturday night, and you can get those tickets on the Voce website. We use a thing called InPlayer, and the concert's going to be really fun. It's called Choral Dances. Huge, broad repertoire. We're kind of spanning all of the groups that have kind of been in the concert. There's a little bit of vocal jazz to copy the Swingles, not quite as good, but we do what we can. And then there's also some really nerdy sort of early music. So a bit of everything, and the theme is dance. So we actually would love if you dressed up for the concert as well. Anybody that's planning to come, send us a selfie from home. Dress up to stay in, I think, is the
Dress up to
phrase.
stay in. I like that. Fantastic. Brilliant. So yes, absolutely. Everybody do, if you haven't yet checked out the festival, it is rather fantastic. Even if I am slightly biased as a Swingle, please do go check it out. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing the concert on Saturday. Blake, thank you so much for a really, really great rehearsal. Those of you that may have missed anything, you will be able to watch this back on YouTube. I'm going to go and upload it right now, so it won't even be 24 hours later. It will be immediate. So if you're so desperate to repeat this rehearsal again, you will be able to do so immediately. So I hope you've enjoyed this afternoon or this evening, this morning, wherever you might be. Thank you again, Blake. And our usual method of thanking everybody, as ever, thanks very much.
Thanks for being here, guys.
In fact, I'm going to let you unmute yourselves. Thank you so much, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good job, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Blake. This is wonderful.
Brilliant.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Fantastic, Blake.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
There you go.
Thank you so much for tonight. Thank you.
Bye.
Really good.
See you all soon. Thank you for joining.
Bye. Can't leave. I'm here.
Bye, everybody. See you soon.
Bye. See ya.
We have to leave.
Yeah, I'm afraid if you don't leave, you can't come back.
Jamie. Hi, Jamie.
Thanks for joining. Cheers, Wolfram. Cheers.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go for it.
Who is that? Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm still not clear what sorry to go on about this. What the tenor ones sing at bar 88, because I know it says stems up.
Yeah, I was going for a stems up, stems down approach here.
Yeah.
Blake, you said that the tenors are all united.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I would say that maybe tenor ones can sing the C sharp all the way through the bar, and the tenor twos can start the melody. Let's go with that.
But do tenor ones then join in with the melody? I think some
Exactly.
people- They do. join
Exactly.
in.
So you'd sing, steady thinking.
Great, brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think some people aren't clear on that, but that's brilliant. Thank you.
That's a really good point. Thanks for making that.
Keith, we'll put out a clarification that we'll say it's optional to join in with the tenor one.
Right.
The
Brilliant.
tenor ones to join in because
So we do that sort of for 2 beats, and then slide into that lovely melody. Fantastic.
Right.
Great.
it'd be a shame for the tenor ones to miss
I
out.
know. I know.
Those two notes, really important, you know?
I know. That's brilliant. Thanks very much. That was a wonderful rehearsal.
Thanks, yeah.
Thanks,
Good to see
everyone.
you.
Thanks for joining, everybody.
Bye.
Stephen, I'd like to see that you're embracing my physicalizations as well.
Right.
Thanks for joining, everybody. See you all soon.
Thank you. See you. Bye.
Thank you.
There we are. Now we've reached my last page of people, so if you are struggling to leave, I will kick you out. I will do it. It's not personal, but I will do it. Thanks for joining, everyone. Let us know if you need me to kick
Hey,
you
man.
out.
Good to see you.
Bye, Dick.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. See you soon. Bye, Mark.
Bye, Roberto.
Oh, I was about to hit remove on you, Tori.
Ah.
I don't want to do
Bye,
that.
Bye,
Florian.
FJ. See you later. Bye, Florian.
Bye, Mark.
Ah.